Now, one last thing which we would like to see today is global and Lambda. So let's start with it. Now, first of all, let's have a look at what globals are. We have also seen what globals are on the first day, but let us quickly revise what they are. So over here, I have a equal to 1, which is declared outside of all the functions. Inside this my function, I have a equal to 2, b equal to 2. So I've taken this same variable a and I've assigned the value 2. So what it will do is inside the function, a will is going to be a completely different variable. It is not going to refer anything from this particular variable, that is a equal to 1. Since we have created a completely new variable inside the function, this is a completely different entity, a equal to 2. So inside the function, when we print a, we get the value as 2. Inside the function, when we print the value of b, this gets printed as 2 as well. Now outside the function, when I print a, so since we are done with this function, this a equal to 2 holds zero significance outside the function. Why? Because a equal to 2 was local to this function only. It holds no significance outside this function. This a and this a are completely different. So when I print a outside the function, this a will take the value which was originally found outside the function. That is 1. So when I print a, I get the value as 1. Similarly, when I print b, since b does not exist outside this function, it only exists locally for this function. So when I say print b, I get this error. Why? Because b does not exist outside the function. Now, what if I want to have this a to take up this global variable only, and this b which I am defining inside the function to also present globally as well. So when I say print b, it should not produce an error. It should basically take up this b equal to 2 and print the same thing. So what my basic motto is to have global declarations inside a function. So for that, what we do is we make use of the global keyword. So what it will do, for example, I have global a comma b. Now what happens is this a and this a, they are same because I am taking the global a inside the function. So when I say a equal to 2 in the very next line, what happens is it will override the global value. Why? Because this a and this a, this time they are same, because this a is also global and this a, since it is obviously declared in the global scope, so this is also global. So when I say a equal to 2, this overrides the global value, and then I have a equal to 2. So when I say print a, this will print a equal to 2. Also, this b, even though I have declared it inside the function, but since I made use of the global keyword, so b will also refer to the global b. So when I say b equal to 2 and print b, I get 2. So even in the global scope, if I print b, that will take up the same value which I have initialized inside the my function. So yeah, so even this b refers to the global variable b. So even though I am defining in the local scope, since I made use of the global keyword, it still refers to the global variable b. Even though it does not exist, we have actually created a new variable in the global scope, but from inside the function. Similarly, we have another case over here. Money is equal to 2000 in the global scope. We want to make use of this money variable which is present in the global scope inside this add money function. So we have the global keyword, then money, then we add 1 to money. So when I say print money, it will be 2000. Then when I call this function, this will increment its value from 2000 to 2001, taking this global variable money. So this will be 2001. So when I again print money, it will be 2001. So this will alter the global variable only. Next, we have the globals function. Now, what globals function is? Let me do print the globals. What this consists of. So yeah, so ignore this particular thing. So basically, everything which is present in the global scope, you might not understand 99% of the things which are present over here, but yeah, these are some of the inbuilt Python things which are present in your global scope. So all of the things which are present inside the global scope will be outputted when you make use of the globals function. As you can clearly see, this is a dictionary. So yeah, we can refer to each and every such variable or each and every such function which is present in the global scope using this square bracket notation. So when I say globals and then square bracket, and then when I pass a enclosed in inverted commas, so what it will do, it will refer to the global value of a, that is a equal to 1. So what it will do, b, even though the name is different, it will refer to the global a. So over here b will be the same as global a. So let me note this down somewhere, that b in function is global a. So this will help us. Also in the next line, as you can see, globals, and then we have a1 over here. So even though again the names are different, so a1 outside the function, that is in the global scope, will actually be b1 in the local scope. So b1 in function is global a1. Next thing what we have is a, which is inside the function, that will be a local a. Why? Because we are not making use of the global keyword or the globals function anywhere inside. So when I say a in function is local a only, it does not refer to anything which exists outside the local scope, that is in the global scope. So when I say a equal to 5, so that prints out the value of a which is residing in the local scope of this function. So over here the a will take the value of 5, and this is what we get. Next, b will hold the value of the global a. So when I print b over here in the last line, I get the output as 1, that is exactly the value of global a. Similarly, if I have b1 equal to globals a1, the value of global a1 is 10. So when I print b1, this will print the value 10. So we can take the global variables and store it in some variables which are named differently in the local scope, but these hold the same values which exist in the global scope. So this is how the globals function work. Now we'll have a look at Lambda functions as quickly as possible since we are running out of time. So what Lambda functions are? These are simple declarations of complex functions which we have seen. So for example, instead of having a separate function to calculate the square, for example, if I want to take x value and then what I want to output is x square x. So this is what I actually wanted to return. So instead of writing this whole function using the def keyword and then a return statement, I can replace this whole thing in just one single line only using this powerful lambda function. So have a look at this. We'll shortly decode what this consists of. First of all, we have the keyword lambda. Then we mention the number of parameters or the parameters which is it is going to take. In this case, it is only one parameter, that is x. And then we have the expression which we want to return. So this function and this function, they are exactly the same. They are doing exactly the same task. Over here, we want to return x square x. Over here, we have written x square x. That is exactly what this will return. Over here, I'm taking just one parameter x. Even this is taking one parameter. Over here, the name is square. Over here, the name is f. But that won't create any difference. So this is basically a shorter version of what we have. So simpler functions can be created using lambda function. So when I say f of phi, so f is the name. Phi is what get passed over here, and what it will return is 5 into 5, that is 25. Similarly, we have another function over here, that is the sum function. Over here we are passing two values 3 and 5. So what it does is 3 goes to x, 5 goes to y. What we return is x plus 5. So 3 plus 5 is 8. So what gets printed is 8. Now, not necessary that we should have these both things in separate lines. So this is one of the powers of lambda function. So we can actually take up this whole thing and write it over here. And that is what exactly what we have done over here. We have taken the lambda function. This is same as writing this sum over here, and then we are passing 3 comma 5 to this. So 3 goes to x, 5 goes to y, and this will return x plus y, that is 3 plus y, and we get the answer as 8. Now this is one such program where we have clubbed various lambda functions. So what we want to do is calculate the sum of two numbers, calculate the difference of two numbers, and then we want what we want as the output is the smaller of both the computations. So first of all, I'm calculating the sum using this lambda function, taking up x and y and giving x plus y. Then we have the difference function which is passing -1 and 2. So x, we have two parameters x and 2, and this returns x minus y. So sum of minus 3 comma minus 2 will be minus 5. Difference of minus 1 comma 2 is going to be minus 1 minus 2, that is minus 3. So from minus 5 and minus 3 we know that since minus 5 is more, so this is what we do in another lambda function. So this takes up two values x comma y. It will return x if x is less than y, else it will return y. So this is just a shorter way to use the if else statements. So this will give the smallest of both the values. So when I say small, first it will compute the sum. Over here it will be minus 5. So this will get substituted with minus 5. Difference is going to be minus 3. So when we call this small function, it is going to be minus 5 comma minus 3. Smaller one is minus 5, and that is what we get as the output. We can also use lambdas inside another function as well, so that won't create any problems. So over here I have the standard way of declaring function using the def keyword, the function name, and passing the parameters, which is returning a lambda function. As you can see, it is not creating any such problems over here. Now similarly, we have another program over here. What it does is we can pass lambda functions as an argument to another function. So in this particular program, what we are doing is we have the twice lambda function. What it simply does is takes one value and then doubles it, x into 2. We have the thrice lambda function which takes a value and triples it, so x into 3. We have another function. What it basically does, it just prints after calling the lambda function. So over here what I'm doing is this function, and what I'm doing, calling twice. Twice is being passed as a parameter to this function. So lambdas can be passed to another function. So f over here will be twice, n will be 4. So when I say print of f of n inside this function, it will call this f of n will call the twice function, pass the value n. Now this x will be equal to n, which in this case happens to be 4, and this will return x into 2. That is 4 into 2, 8. So f of n will be 8. So when we print this, we get the output as 8. Similarly, we have the thrice function. So when I call the thrice lambda function, I pass this thrice lambda function inside this standard function, call it, pass the value of n, which is 4, and we get 4 into 3, 12, which gets printed over here. Now there are many other functions which are used along with lambda function. These are basically used to shorten the code which you're using. So instead of actually demonstrating it with the code, I leave it to you. What I do is I demonstrate what it actually does. So just have a look at this simple slide. We have the map function. So what map function does is it takes up all the values which are present in a sequence. So these three functions, what they do is basically take in sequences as a parameter. So for example, I pass a list which consists of an apple, it consists of an orange, it consists of a banana. So what it will do is it will perform a similar operation with all the entities which are present inside a sequence. So in this case, what actually this is for only for demonstration purpose, but you can consider these are some values, for example 10, 20, and 30. So when I map and pass this sequence, and then I mention what operation I want to perform. For example, if each value is considered to be x, so when I return x divided by 2, what map will do is it will map that expression to each and every entity which is present inside the sequence. So it will calculate the half of each of the values which are present in the sequence. If the expression is x divided by 2, for example. This is one simple demonstration. It takes up each of these fruits which I have over here, and each of these fruits are sliced into pieces. So over here, the apple is also sliced into pieces, orange as well, and banana as well. Next, we have this filter method. Filter, as the name suggests, it will filter out the values. For example, I have a list of a number of values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I only want to have even numbers filtered out. So yeah, we can, in that case, we make use of the filter functions, and we use the logic of the even function. So if x mod 2 equal to 0, we want to return the value. So as you can see in this demonstration, out of apple, orange, and banana, orange gets filtered over here, and these two gets removed. Now what reduce does is, for example, you have a list of, again, we have a list of numbers 1 to 10, and you want to calculate the sum of all those numbers. Although you have the inbuilt sum function, but for example, you want to use your own brains in calculating the sum. So reduce function comes into picture over there. So you take up, so you what you do is reduce, when you write reduce, it takes up two parameters, x comma y. So it will calculate the sum x plus y, and in the next iteration x will take the value which was calculated in the previous one. For example, you have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So in the first iteration you have x as 1, y as 2, so the sum is 3. So now in the next iteration x will be 3 and y will be the next number in the sequence, that is 3. So 3 plus 3 is going to be 6. Then we have x as 6 and y will be the next number in the sequence, that is 4. So 6 plus 4 is 10, and this goes on and on until you come to an end of the sequence. So this is like another one demonstration. So it takes up all these values in the sequence, it makes use of all this and creates some nice output from it. Over here we have seen this is a fruit salad.